So life kind of sucks sometimes, doesn't it? Sometimes we just walk through hardships in life, and it's hard to believe that God has the best plans. It's that sudden job loss, it's that unexpected diagnosis, the breakup, the miscarriage, those moments that just knock the wind out of us. And it can be really hard in those moments to want to worship God and believe that God is still faithful. And listen, if you've walked through that or you're walking through it right now, I just need to let you know it's okay if you're struggling. It's okay if you don't know how to believe right now. I've been there myself. But listen, we're not perfect people, and God never expected us to be perfect and walk through these situations perfectly, because He's the only one who is, and He invites us into a relationship where He's our provider and our sustainer. There's this verse that is so beautifully written, and it's the anthem I want us to have when we walk through situations. It's in Habakkuk 3, verses 17 and 18. It says, "Even though the fig tree has no blossoms, even though there are no grapes on the vines, even though the olive crop fails, and the fields lie empty and barren, even though the flocks die in the field, and the cattle barns are empty, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in the God of my salvation." Listen, we're going to walk through hard times. That's just life. But God is still faithful. God is still our provider, even when we don't see it and even when we don't feel it. And oftentimes God uses these situations to help us grow closer to Him and maybe even help somebody who's struggling as well. And I know that the question still remains, well, how do I have joy and feel less anxious in these moments? Well, let's go back to what Habakkuk did. Habakkuk did a lot of remembering. He remembered that his joy, it wasn't determined by his circumstance, but by God's faithfulness. He remembered that God was his salvation, that there was nothing else in this world that could give him eternal security and hope for the present day. And lastly, he just remembered that God had been good to him in his past and in his present, and that made him able to believe that God would also be good in his future. Listen, I'm not saying this is easy, but I know that when I have turned my eyes on Jesus more and less on my situation, I've felt less anxious, less scared, and I've had more joy because I know who holds the ending. And I believe that today we can take some tiny steps together to make this our answer, our response to hardships in our lives, and worship God in every situation.